Good evening, friends, family. Hi, Andrea. Andrea's downstairs watching right now.
Hi, Andrea.
um, Welcome, Gabe, back to my channel. My
Thank you.
bestest friend from the
Thank you.
ex-Scientology world, especially.
You have other best friends? I thought it was just me.
Yeah, we need to talk.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Anyway,
Yeah,
my Canadian counterpart, my ex staff member cohort, we used to stand shoulder to shoulder in the fight against psychiatry and the evils of the world, and now we're just fighting against the evils of the world together.
that's right.
The real evil of the world.
That's
Um,
right.
I also want to say a special hello to Andy. I'm going to guess that he can't quite watch this live because I think 6 o'clock is roll call for the staff.
That's
So
right.
they're probably up in the muster room on the third floor, um, probably getting yelled at for talking to me yesterday. Sorry, guys. You know what? So we're going to be going over a lot of videos. Not everything, because you guys don't need to watch the video of me just standing there waiting for things to happen. So I've kind of selected my favorite moments. And Gabe, you haven't seen most of these, so it's going to be new for you as well. Um,
So
but
excited.
I know you get to see some people you haven't seen in ages. Um, and we're going to talk about them. We have some stories about specific people, especially your favorite person, Nicole, who is the executive director of the org now, which I found out. I also have other videos I'm not going to be sharing right now, but I will be sharing in the future. I'm just working on editing and working on some subtitles and stuff because the audio was a bit off. That way you guys aren't just listening to a garbled mess as a bus drives by. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. First thing I want to mention, you and I both have ways to support our channels, which is liking and subscribing. We are streaming this to your channel as well, Gabe. So if you guys are watching on my channel, make sure to pop over to her channel, give her some watch hours, and
I need them.
likes and subscribes. Yeah, she needs them. You and I essentially, actually, no, exactly, are the only two Canadian ex-Scientologists speaking out in Canada. We'd love to change that. But for now, it's just you and I, and you've got the East Coast, I've got the West Coast.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So you can support our channels that way. For myself, I have started a membership program for people, and I'm going to be doing private members only lives. Haven't decided exactly when yet. However, that is the plan. It'll probably be the beginning of every month sort of thing, just on a Sunday or whatever works for people. And speaking of which, we do have a new member, Free of Mind. Thank you very much for becoming a
Yeah,
member.
man.
I appreciate
There's a
that.
song.
There are 3 levels, so pick your poison. It helps myself do this more and have more bus fare to get to the org downtown, because it is an hour trip each way, and it's a bit of an investment, but I really enjoy myself. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Can
We
I
like
just
to say,
flick up somebody real quick?
yeah.
Oh, I don't have clicky. I don't have clicky privileges.
Who do you want to say hi to, Gabe?
It's
I have a lot of people to say hi to. So.
Oh, really? Maybe we can do that a little bit.
Let's do
There's
that.
the Iron Neck I 2006. Oh my
Woot
God.
woot.
Yeah. I was talking to him yesterday. He's an ex.
Oh, okay.
He's an ex. Yeah. See?
Nice. Awesome. Well, hello. Welcome.
From Toronto.
Hello to my wife
Hi,
from
wife.
downstairs. Good evening to Lacey.
Yeah.
Happy Puffin. Welcome back. Who else we got in here? Mary. The Canadian crew is very well supported by Mary. She is lovely. Matt, the only never in who is in Canada, who is going to the orgs and doing some audits. So you can take a look at his channel as well. I think it's Matt
Yeah.
Elliott.
And I'm trying to coordinate something with Matt.
Yes, exactly. Nancy, who else we got in here? Lorna. Hello, Lorna.
Hi, Lorna.
And you have an amazing story with Lorna on your channel that people can go and take a look at. And
It's a good
yeah,
one.
lots of other cool people in here. Another person from Toronto, Kim.
Woohoo!
Nice. Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, Fluffy Wickets in rainy Los Angeles. Oof.
My.
It was a beautiful day here today. I went mountain biking for the first time in too long. And I was actually in your old neck of the woods out in Chilliwack. And
Yeah.
yeah.
We miss Chilliwack.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It is a lovely
And
spot.
it's cold here. It's cold out here. We're not used to it.
I was riding in shorts and a t-shirt today.
Stop. I don't want to hear that. La 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 la.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Anyway, with all that stuff done,
Yes.
I would like to introduce y'all to the amazing Vancouver organization in all its glory. This is a quick video. I'm going to be doing a bunch of snippets of videos here, and this is a very quick showing of what the outside of the org looks like as of yesterday. As you can see, it is quite decrepit looking. If you look here, you got the soffits. The soffits
I
are
never
falling
noticed
down.
that.
Yeah, I mean, so I had a lot of time to hang out outside and take a good look.
Yeah.
And you know, there's moss and stuff growing up on the Scientology sign. I have a close up of that later. Like, it's just ugly, and it's not maintained at all. So that's kind of the main thing I want to point out with that. It
Can I
really
just make
is.
a quick mention of something?
Yeah, of course.
That building used to be a jewelry store.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why it has those displays there. And then it also was split up into several different businesses. Like upstairs, there were like accounting offices and stuff. It's about 18,000 square feet inside.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it has 3 floors.
Yeah. Oops. Okay, so here is going to be, this is a little bit later on when I was hanging out. This is after they had opened. Oh, that's not the right screen. There we go. Why is it?
Why is it
Sorry.
doing that?
That's okay. Sorry, technical issues here. Yeah, so as you can see, they have their very inviting sign here, free personality test. I'm sure that a lot of people go in there. That's new. Okay.
That is fairly new. It was a sandwich board before, so they're moving up in the world. Remember that?
That's where all that Ideal Org money is going, to new signs. Holy shit, that's amazing. All right.
Yeah, that's the start of their Ideal Org.
Brick by brick.
Yes.
We're gonna be having some fun here today, folks. So,
yeah.
If you guys have any questions, by the way, let us know. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat here. If you guys want to know anything specific, or if you have suggestions for what you want me to do next time I go visit, and there will be a next time. Yeah. Go ahead, Gabe.
I think I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I remember. So one of the what would you call one of the gifts I got for, I think it was either I think it was about for donating 20,000 to the Ideal Org. We got a stupid brick with this cheesy little label or whatever, this engraved thing stuck on it. It was like an old brick. And then they just, and that was for 20 grand.
Well, that was like, was that like a founding member thing? Like or a founding Ideal Org member? No,
I don't know.
It was I remember them having a program for that where if you were like in the first year or whatever, if you donated a certain amount, then you were a founding member, and that ended at some point. But everyone had a brick to build the next Ideal Org, I guess. But anyway, all right, back to this. So this is crazy. Like, look at how dirty this entranceway is. You know, I'm only saying this from a an ex staff member point of view, because I spent and you spent so much time in this org. This is,
Yeah.
I grew up in this building. Like these are the halls I grew up in, running
Yeah.
around annoying people. And for it to look like this, and like if a Sea Org member came by and saw this, like from a real org that actually had standards and saw this, I think some heads would roll. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there would definitely be a white glove, and all hands to clean this place up, because this is disgusting.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, weren't you and Larry, that was like your cleaning station on
Yeah.
Saturdays?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So they're
Larry doesn't.
probably not even doing that because, yeah.
Well, yeah, they probably aren't, because when I was there, I was speaking to a staff member, and I had a very long conversation with one for about 15 minutes,
Yeah, that's fine.
including another 10 minutes or so off the record, because he wouldn't tell me certain things um, on record. But he told me that he was going to do a tape play. And so Sunday mornings used to be clean up the org mornings.
Yep.
But now they're doing tape plays. And interestingly, it's on how to contact public. That was the lecture by L. Ron Hubbard they were doing. I mean, I would
But
say start by cleaning up your entranceway, but
Jeff,
I digress.
that was Sunday service. Where were the Timbits? Who was bringing the Timbits?
So on that, I did go buy some Timbits, because was it your idea or was it somebody else's idea
I don't know.
for me to buy some Timbits? Because that's the most Canadian thing you can do, is bring
Absolutely.
Timbits. And I was going to like hold the Timbits in front of the camera and be like, approach all the staff members and be like, would you like a Timbit, and see what they said. But well, I'll get to it. I'll get to it in a minute. But I ended up
Okay.
giving away to homeless people, because I felt that was a better person to give it to than Scientology. But
That was much more charitable of you.
yeah,
What are Timbits? Somebody doesn't know what Timbits
what?
are.
Who
Are you
are
kidding?
you?
Freya Mind? I don't
Free
think
your
she's
mind.
Canadian.
Okay, well let's bring this up. Let's address this.
Okay, this is important.
So Timbits are just donut holes.
Yeah.
And Matt says a little bit further down there, they're donut holes in the U.S. Tim Hortons is a
Yes.
Canadian coffee donut company that was actually purchased by
Yes.
by the United States, some company in the United States, and that's their name for the donut holes is Timbits.
Yeah. She got it.
Timbits also is also the fun name for the kids hockey team that they sponsor as well. So
Oh, right.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thank you.
So anyway, it was a gesture I was gonna do, but I almost walked away from the org. I almost said I can't do this, because I was having like visceral reactions about being back, way
Yeah.
more than I was gonna have. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I went around the corner. I'm like, I called Andrea, and I basically said, like, I am kind of freaking out right now. Like, I haven't been back to this org in 12 years, right? And a lot of things happen in this org that I've been
Yeah.
looking at and uncovering, and I honestly had no idea that it was going to be this much for me. But I will talk about it a little bit later on in the video. But
Well, I couldn't have done it, Jeff. I don't
you know
think I
what?
could have done it.
There are other people who have mentioned that they want to go to their org but they can't, and
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't before, because I always have this like kind of bravado attitude, like, just go do it, you know.
Tough
Not that there's
guy.
anything wrong with not doing it. Yeah, it is like, I don't know if it's an ego thing or what with me, or it's just my Scientology upbringing is just confront it,
Mm-hmm.
just hit things head on and do it. But I tell you what, I get it now,
Yeah.
because I almost walked away. You know, I went around I was across the street and I went around the corner.
And
Man,
it
my legs
started.
were shaking, my stomach was hurting. Like, I was
Wow.
shaking. I was like, holy shit. Like, my body was reacting, right? Which is not something I expected.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
That's crazy.
it was, but you know what? Just like when I was in the UK confronting these OSA people, it was very cathartic. It was not easy, but once I started doing it, it's like, yep, this is what I need to do. And it, there was
Yeah.
a lot of emotions, and I had some good conversations. And in fact, the first conversation, which will be in a future video, with an old friend of mine, where at the end we shook hands and we had a 50-minute long conversation, just truth. It felt
Yeah.
really good. So
And I know him, and he's a good guy, and he's struggled a lot.
yeah. Oh, and I don't even want to get into his stuff because he is
Yeah.
a good person.
Yeah.
I don't want to make fun of him. And in fact, I
No.
couldn't, because
No.
when you look into his eyes and you talk to him, he really believes he's doing the right thing. And in our off camera conversation, because I told him I wouldn't record him when he's saying all this stuff, he essentially said, "Look, this is what I think is good about it, and that's why I'm here." And it's very low level stuff, And we agreed at the end of it that it isn't Scientology. This is just the outlet for him to help people. So
Interesting.
yeah, and he's not high
Mm,
on the bridge,
no.
but yet he's been in for a long time. But anyway, stories for
Yeah.
another day.
Yeah.
Let's get back to this org, and let me
Okay.
just hide
Let's
this
make fun
comment
of
so
some
it's not
people.
looking
I'm
silly.
kidding.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let's make fun of the building first.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so here is
Look at
this
it's
is a bit
falling
shaky at
apart.
first, but it'll get better. Just the bottom part, all dirty.
Hey, while you're showing that, can I give you a little story?
Yeah.
So I think it was around the time I was heading out. I wasn't on post, and somebody had reported that the bricks, if you go further down the building, down along not Hastings, Pender, the bricks were falling off the wall, and somebody reported this to the city.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're not even taking care of it, right? Like
Well,
they're
this building is so
letting the
old.
bricks it is really old.
Yeah.
Like the boiler in the building is like over 100 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's one more. I think there's one more. 87. I just have all
And
these
just
things
so
lined up.
people know, this is not an ideal org.
No, and we're gonna get to that a little bit later too, because I found out information about that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
here's the very front of the org.
Ooh.
It's just disgusting,
Yeah.
right?
Lots of moss and
Like, it's gross. So anyway,
yeah, it's in bad shape.
yeah, and
Okay.
like one of the conversations I had with this staff member about the ideal org program, because that's what I was really pushing, because that was big for me when I left, was why is all this money being put towards this, and like we can't even fill this building here, right? Like, what's the point? We're not taking care of this one. What's the point? And that was kind of my message to him, like, look at your org, and they're not even taking care of it. So
Yeah.
even if they did get a new org and manned it,
Yeah.
it's just going to fall to shit because they don't have any respect for their own, messed, whatever you want to
Mess.
call it.
Matter,
Matter,
energy,
energy, space, and time
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Toronto.
Anyway, okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this fun stuff. You have any thoughts right now, Gabe?
I'm
While I
just
load this up?
answering somebody's question here real quick.
Sure. What's that
SP
question?
Squirrel is asking,
Oh,
maybe
this
I
one
won't
here.
put it in there. Yeah.
Do you think there
Yeah,
are more Scientologists in BC or Ontario?
I think Ontario, well, Toronto area.
Mm-hmm.
They've always had a bigger, we call it a field. That's sort of like the Scientology terminology. So basically they've always had more public. It's been bigger.
Yeah.
And I believe they've also been around longer than BC as well. But I know at one point BC went the org, before it became an org and it was still a mission. It had a very high count of OTs, operating thetans, so people who were actually on the upper levels of the bridge. There was a
Yeah.
lot of them. And there's actually quite a few who have like joined the Sea Org from Canada and gone down to the States, or just actually moved down to LA or wherever, or Florida, because you're closer to where you can do your upper levels of the bridge. And I mean, you also have to convert your Canadian bucks to US, and it's not as, it's definitely more expensive for Canadians. So
Yeah, and another point for Ontario having more is just it's a bigger city. Like there's way more
yeah.
people
Oh yeah.
in
Yeah,
Ontario than there are in BC.
that's true.
But
Absolutely.
so on that note, as far as how
Mhm.
many staff member or how many public there are in this entire field in Vancouver, I've been saying without
Mhm.
confirmation current numbers that, and you agree with this, that there are no more than 200, right? No more, 100%. And that's and I'm going to get back to this. That's if
Yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard came home to take over again, and there
Yeah.
was an event announcing his presence and him taking over again in British Columbia, there would be a maximum of 200 people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would go. So 201. And I have confirmation of that from the public executive secretary of Vancouver that is an accurate number. And I even gave him that example. I said,
Yeah.
if L. Ron Hubbard came back,
How many
and there
people
was
could you drag into the org?
yeah, and it was
To the
200.
event.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And he says there's 40 staff members at Vancouver. I
Mm,
disagree. The amount that I counted that came in to work on Sunday, which should be a full complement in theory, there might be a few more, was 20.
yeah.
That's not
Right.
including the trainees. Let's say another
Right.
8. So maximum, I'd say 30, maybe 32 of actual staff members. So
Yeah.
anyway, cool. So let's get to some videos here. If you want to keep an eye on the chat there while I'm doing this, just to make sure I don't miss
Yeah.
any interesting questions. So this first shot is, so guys may have seen this already when in my first video. I think this is a staff member. She looks very clueless, but she walks up to the door and I say hello and I distract her. She's very out of PT and she completely misses the door.
PT
So,
means present time. That
oh yeah,
means she's not there. She's daydreaming. This is funny.
morning. How are you? Oh, you almost missed your door.
Whoops.
I love that. That was like
That's
one of the
cute.
first ones that came in too. And she doesn't look like she's a very hardcore Scientologist to me.
I don't
I think
recognize her.
no, and I think she's new. I think she's new.
Probably.
I mean, she
Poor
could be a
thing.
public too.
Yeah, that was my thought.
Yeah. One note though too is I noticed that they're still required to sanitize upon entry. Every single person.
Really?
Yeah. They all have to sanitize. Okay, now let's get to when our best friend Andy shows up. This will be about 10 seconds before he even shows up.
Oh, Andy. Lots to say about him. Oh, we can actually see inside too.
How's it going, Andy? Would you care for a word? Why not? I thought you could communicate on any subject. I'm sure you do.
Oh,
So in
bummer.
case you guys didn't hear what he said, I said, Andy, would you care for a word? And he said, I wouldn't. And I was like, but I thought you can communicate on any subject. And he said, I choose not to. And that's
Yeah.
a load of horse shit.
He doesn't have a choice.
Exactly. He's not allowed to talk to me.
No.
Um,
But he's the one, that's the guy that's been watching our videos.
yeah.
He's
exactly.
the one.
And so I did mention before that him and I were having a conversation on Messenger back and forth. And he had some choice words for you. he doesn't seem to like you very much, and I don't understand
Yeah.
why. But
You want me to tell you?
I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I don't want to force you in anything.
Well, I was his senior. I made him do stuff.
What'd you make him do?
Yeah. Oh God. Like, what didn't I make him do? But he actually had it pretty cushy, this guy. He was allowed to go into the course room part of the time while he was on post and study and stuff. Like, I never had that privilege. So he actually had it pretty good. He also got to train. He never had the kind of treatment I did, because he didn't have the kind of seniors I had, like
Yeah.
Peter Byrne and Shelley Hockett. Yeah, and they were both very, very hardcore Scientologists, and they were very nasty. Not that I wasn't, but they were just like, they were from, like, Shelley was trained at Flag under Miscavige, and she was just like brutal. She was like a, an RTC kind of hardcore. What's that term that's Claire used before? Hard chrome steel, or cold chrome steel. Like, these
Gotcha.
guys were just very, very standard and extremely demanding.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and I wasn't somebody that had a lot of training. So, yeah, there was a big difference, and Andy had a lot of privileges. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Well, I mean, he was definitely trying to get in between you and I in his
Mm.
conversations. So that's not
Oh.
surprising to me. So there's a law in Scientology called the third party law. And
Hmm.
basically, for any conflict to happen, there has to be someone in the background fueling this conflict. I don't
Hmm.
necessarily agree with it all the time, but it is
Right.
definitely a way that arguments can occur.
Yeah.
And so I believe that's all he was trying to do. He's trying to sow some sort of seeds of dissent between you and I, and it's
Hmm.
not going to work because you and I have shared trauma. We're friends. We were friends even when you were giving me shit as an HCO person and making
Yeah.
me put my ethics in and
Yeah.
and carrying out justice actions on me. I still loved you,
Yeah.
and that will never
Hmm.
change. So
Yeah. I
suck it,
always
Andy.
had empathy for people, right? And I did, like with Andy, like, I treated him like he was my kid. His mother had some very serious mental issues, and she was
Yeah.
actually held in a mental institution. And she wasn't well, and she didn't want Andy there. She was in pretty bad shape. And so I pretty much, I would buy him stuff, and when he was down in at Flag, I would help him out too. I would always lend him money. And yeah, so anyways,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, we're gonna do a whole video on that. We were gonna do it the other day, but other things got in the way, technical issues. But we do plan on jumping onto that because it's a big story, and
Yeah.
Andy has given up a lot for this organization.
Yeah.
He started as a teen, so he doesn't. He was still developing, and
Yeah.
it's not too late for him. So you hear
Yeah.
that, Andy? It's not too late, buddy.
No.
Um, cool. Let me go back. So this next one here, this is just really quick. This is the only reason I'm showing these ones. They're meaningful to me. Chris Jung showed up, and Chris Jung, if anyone in Vancouver, if you've spent any time in Scientology Vancouver, know him. He's actually a really nice guy. But he showed up, and I wanted to say hello to him, and so I did
He's
because
been
I
there
can talk to
forever.
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, the funny story with him too, when I was on staff, I think in 2008 ish, Chris was off lines. And he used to work at London Drugs downtown on Robson Street, which is downtown
Hmm.
Vancouver, so not too far from the org. I used to walk over there and go bug him at work and try and recruit him because that's how hardcore I was. And
And just so
he
you know,
hated it.
offline, yeah, he would. It was always annoying when people would come around, but offlines means that you're not currently in the organization doing services.
Yeah, or you're just not actively doing it. You might be
Yeah,
signed
you're
up
not
for something,
active.
but you're not going into
Yeah.
the org. And anyway, so I was super annoying to him, but I do believe that I helped get him back in, which is kind of unfortunate. But
Yeah.
he is back on staff.
Christian. Morning, Chris. Good. How are you? Long time no see. Do you like my camera?
Oh, right. He's a photo guy.
Yeah, sorry. That comment is a bit of an inside thing, but yeah, he worked in the photography department of London Drugs, I believe, and he's a big camera guy. So
He's been in for a very long time, like longer than I was.
yeah, and so him, Scott Ackerman, who is the star of one of my other videos, and we'll be seeing a little bit more of him a little bit later. He's the guy I made a short with where he said he was talking to protesters saying that he's going to kick their ass and telling them to suck his dick and all this stuff.
That was
Typical.
very nice.
He's so crass. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, so and who else was there? There's a couple other long-term Scientologists, but they used to stay in this place called the Stud Palace.
The Stud Palace.
And it was just a house that they all shared. They were all on staff, I think at the Mission of Vancouver, not actually on staff at the org here.
I think Iverson was on staff in the org.
Okay. Anyway,
anyways.
They're all staff members. They're all Scientologists. And they rented this house in East Vancouver, I believe it was. Oh yeah, Margaret Ross was there. Scott Shell. Scott Shell's in Toronto. He is a Scientologist still. He's actually my godfather, which is kind of funny.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Margaret Ross is my godmother.
Margaret Ross is in LA right now.
Yeah,
she moved to LA. Like a lot of people did. They just, because Scientology is so small in Canada, people just go, I want to be in, closer to the scene. So they pack up and they move to LA, and a lot of them get green cards, or sometimes they don't, and they work there illegally. They do that too.
Yep. So anyway, my story, back to that. It's not interesting really, actually, but yeah, they used to run the Stud Palace, and they were young, good looking men,
studs,
living in a place. They were studs, but it's a very inappropriate term, because the definition of a stud is not appropriate for, let's say, a religion. And so they were actually forced to take the stud out of the name and just call it the Palace.
Really? Yep. I didn't know that. I thought it was hilarious.
I know, but apparently it kind of got out, like word got out, and it's like, well, what do they do there? Just like have a bunch of sex orgies or something?
Well, they were all single guys. I'm sure they brought girls over, so whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so next I'm going to introduce you to the auditor who did my last confessional on me. Let me just
forgot about that.
Yeah, so in this confessional, I wasn't allowed to leave. I wasn't allowed to leave until I came up with an overt that was earlier similar. And the earlier similar one I had to come up with, I just made it up, and it was from a past life. And I literally made this thing up out of whole cloth, to use a Scientology idiom. And it made my needle float. And therefore I was allowed to leave the room.
I'm sorry.
But I completely fucking made it up. Like everything about it.
Yeah.
And yet it made my needle float. And honestly, I don't know why I joined the Sea Org after that, but that's when I really realized that the e-meter just does not work. It just doesn't.
And you can manipulate it.
Yeah, exactly. And I used to manipulate the shit out of that thing. Like in those confessionals, I'd be like, big old goofy smile, quote unquote VGIs. Oh, I just realized whatever, and make the needle float just so I can get the heck out of there. Because I was a long session guy. Like I was in there for hours, and it was really a struggle, right?
That's what the interrogations. So there are different kinds of auditing. But generally what most people get who are at the lower end of the bridge, they get the interrogations, also called security checking. So that's when it's a confessional. You're basically giving up your quote sins.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's very uncomfortable. I talked about it in my live with Marilyn the other day. It's a very uncomfortable situation because you're having to dig into very, very personal information that quite honestly nobody should know. It's
Yeah.
so intrusive.
And being asked whether you're masturbating as a 14 or 15-year-old by an
Right,
adult male,
right,
very inappropriate. And that's what
right.
happened to me. So,
And not just asked if you are,
yeah.
how are you doing it? Where are you doing it?
Yeah.
When are you doing? With
How
who
many
are you?
times?
All of that
What are you
stuff.
thinking
No,
about?
yes.
That's another
Oh,
good point. In my confessional in 2012 or whenever it was, like literally any time that I look at like pornography or anything like that, they would be like, "Well, what was it?" I don't know, some chick doing this to a guy. It's like, yeah, but what specifically? You know, like details.
yeah,
And like, who remembers even like it's say a TV show? Like, who remembers every scene in a TV show? Right. So
right.
I'm sitting there like, I'm paying good money for this.
You're paying to
And I'm
get this
thinking,
done.
this is dumb. Like, why am I who cares? You know? Anyway, it's just so dumb.
Yeah.
And that's one of the more, and I didn't realize this until recently, the more traumatic aspects of this of my last time in Scientology, because I got way more ethics handlings this last go around than I
Mhm.
ever had before. So anyway, so
Yeah.
many stories, so many
Fun
stories.
and
But
games.
let's say hello to my old auditor, Scott Iverson of the Stud Palace.
Oh,
Peter Stevenson. Look at that.
Oh yeah, and the guy
Peter,
with him is Peter Stevenson, who is another
uh,
whole
he's
other
from
story.
Toronto.
This guy's from Toronto. Yeah, whole other story with this guy. He's weird,
Yeah.
very sketchy.
Yeah. The guy gave me the willies. Creepy guy.
Is that Peter and Scott? Hi, Scott.
Something really similar.
How's it going?
Exactly.
Long time no see.
Oh,
Is the Grad 5 auditor here? Nice. Awesome.
Very awkward.
oh,
He is a very nice person, however,
he
in real
is.
life. Not in Scientology, but in real life.
Yeah,
Let me
and
just
his
let's
daughter's
address
in.
a question here.
Oh,
Desert Dog. What's an earlier similar exactly? Okay. So in auditing, when you're doing the Scientology counseling, when you, let's say, come up with an overt or an incident, something that you've done or something that's happened to you, if your needle doesn't float, meaning you don't like clear the trauma from the incident, and no matter what you do, you go over it, and
yeah.
it doesn't resolve, you then get asked for an earlier similar. And the reasoning behind this is that the power from this future incident is actually coming from an old incident that you haven't dealt
Mhm.
with.
Yeah.
And it kind of like keeps it from blowing and like relieving you. So when I say earlier similar, talking about going past life, like I had gotten down to like being a child, giving off things that I had done wrong, and I actually went earlier similar to a different last lifetime, in
Yeah.
fact, in the 70s, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So
Lorna gives a quick description here. An earlier similar is an incident earlier in time similar to the one being discussed.
yeah, it doesn't have to be exact, just
Right.
similar.
It's
So
supposed
like
to be similar.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, like I stole an apple, and an earlier similar could be I stole an orange. That could
Right.
be considered, as long as it makes sense in your brain that it's similar. That's also all that really matters too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
this is the whole thing, right? Like you're already uncomfortable and you're talking about uncomfortable things. I swear to God, this is what happens. You know, you're you're giving off these personal incidents that happen to you, and who the hell is happy about that? It's very uncomfortable. You know, you're usually talking to somebody either you know very well, so now you're confessing things about your personal life to this person you really know well, or to a complete stranger, or to a guy and you're a girl. Like, it's all very awkward situation. And the whole point of it is you're supposed to be happy about this after you give off, after you give off the overt or the transgression. Like, who the hell's happy about that? So, and then they go earlier similar. And that's why sometimes, I mean, there was times where I was in an auditing session for 2-3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Or I should say a sec check, which is what I had most of, is sec checking.
Yeah,
Anyways.
me too.
Yeah.
Because I think that kind of, it's interesting because it costs the same amount of money as a regular session, I think. And I think that it's kind of endless. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you could literally just do sec checks all the time.
There's all
and
sorts
even
of different kinds.
Yeah, like OT7s, for example.
Oh yeah.
You're on OT7 for like what, 8 years, maybe 5, 8 years, getting rid of your body thetans. And every 6 months you go down there for a 6-month check.
Yeah.
And as a regular person in Scientology, you don't know what that means. But then you find out that it's just a security check.
Yeah.
You're just being interrogated because you have all these OT level stuff and you're doing all this stuff and they don't trust you, even though you're the cleanest person on the planet. They still have to interrogate you every 6 months and they pay good money for this.
Yeah. Well, you know what cracked me up is they call it a refresher. Like, well, what does that mean? The other thing they also do is they make sure that you're doing everything correctly. And if you're not doing anything, if you're sort of messing up on the auditing, then they'll do correction. But all of this you're paying for. Like, it's about 10 grand every time they're going down there. So that's just doing this refresher is costing you $20,000 a year. And on top of that, I think they actually have to pay for CSing as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Because those CSs, they pay them a lot of money down at Flag.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's they pay primo prices there.
No, I know, but the CSs don't make any money because they're Sea Org members.
Of course
not. So like, it's funny actually. That reminds me that the conversation I had off the record with this person, the staff member here, I was talking about them. I was like, why is everything so expensive? Like in the Sea Org specifically, like they don't pay them money. Yeah, I got into a whole thing with them, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I get it.
Anyway,
are you starring in? Okay, you are starring stuff, or somebody's starring
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna at the end we'll just go through a bunch unless something comes up that's kind of relative and all that.
Okay.
But this next one, I can't get closer to the timestamp, so you're gonna have to watch about 18 seconds of less interesting stuff. But this is Nicole Roussel showing up to work, and we can talk about Nicole after we say hi to Nicole, and then Bruce and Patricia Lewis. So Patricia rolling in like she's a friggin' boxer with her hood over and everything. I think she probably saw that someone was filming and didn't want to be on camera. But
really? No.
I think so. And I apologize for the shaky camera work. I was moving spots here, so. Hear the birds? It's lovely.
I don't hear any. Where? Oh, at your on your side?
No, just in the background. It's fine.
Oh, I can't hear anything. So, I was surprised. You want me to talk while you're doing this?
No.
Okay, I'll shut up then.
So that was Nicole. We'll get back to her in a sec.
Okay. You got somebody else?
And we can talk about them as well.
It's like going down memory lane.
I know. And they look really, really aged at this point. Like they are under so much stress all the time, especially Patricia,
Yeah. She's a registrar. She's the one that's supposed to be getting money out of people.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go
That's
back to
hard.
Nicole.
Okay.
Nicole Roussel, or I don't know what she goes by now. She's married to Marcus, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's Nicole Jones. Anyway, doesn't
Yeah, it
matter.
is. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So her and I used to hang out because I think we're about the same age. She used to be very ditzy, as I recall, very much a blonde girl,
Oh,
under the stereotypical blonde. I'm not saying that all blondes are ditzy, but like she used to be in a lot of drinking, drugs, very very party girl, as far as I recall. So,
yes.
what is your recollection of that? Because you were her ethics officer, were you not?
Yeah. Oh, there's some stuff I won't talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's I don't want to insult people and stuff, but I mean, I dealt with a lot of the public in Vancouver, and there are some people who are who come into HCO or come into ethics, and they're pretty quick, they know what to do, they kind of they're self-starters, they take initiative. But she was a real tough one, and trying to get like concepts and stuff like that through to her. I mean, maybe it was an advantage that she wasn't getting it, but she wasn't the brightest bulb in the chandelier, let's put it. And she really liked her life the way it was. She had a non-Scientology boyfriend at the time too, and she was sort of
Right.
good. Yeah, you remember that? And
Yeah, Fialoega. No, that's Dina. Who
that
was
was
she
Dina.
with?
It was a non-Scientologist.
Do you remember his name?
And no, you
I wonder if I
crazy.
met him before. Trying to
Yeah,
remember his
and
name.
he was from a different culture and stuff like that, and he had his own religion. So she was pretty messed up. I think she was like what, 25, 30, somewhere around there. Is she
Mhm.
your age?
I think her and I are about the same age. Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're how old?
We rolled together in the same crew. 41.
41. Okay, so we're
Yeah.
talking, yeah, so I was about right. She was about in her 30s. And yeah, we were trying to get her on staff and all sorts, but she didn't want to give it up. And like I
Mm.
said, she wasn't the brightest bulb in the chandelier.
That's
And
for sure.
yeah, so to find out that she's actually the executive director for the Church of Scientology of BC, I was like, are you effing kidding me?
Well,
Like,
that's what I
yeah,
said to James when he told me, because I was like, I was talking to Scott earlier, and Scott is married to Marta, and I said, "Oh, is Marta still the ED?" And he said, "No." And then I was like, "Well, James, like, who's the ED then?" And then he's like, "Nicole." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like that
yeah,
was my response. Was like, "Really?" And
yeah.
he's like, "Oh no, she's doing a pretty good job actually." I'm like, "Well, I wanted to say, have you looked at your org? It's
But here's
dirty."
my theory about why she's there right now is because there's all those guys down at Flag training on the new administrative releases and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So my guess is that they're probably gonna like, thanks, get out of here kind of thing,
Oh
and
yeah.
remove her from post and put somebody in who is all trained up in the admin technology of L. Ron Hubbard BS.
Yeah. And James, who I was talking to, he told me that he thinks they're all mid training right now. And
Right.
you know that ain't true. They just can't get fired back to their org because they can't
Yeah.
until everyone's done, or orgs can open for
Yeah.
ideal orgs. So they're just sitting there doing more training or being used to service public for free and
Yeah.
apprentice,
Yeah.
right?
So I mean, that brings up a whole other can of worms about them being religious workers. So
Hmm.
and the whole visa thing and stuff like that. So like, they've gotten into trouble. There's been Canadians who have been turned back at the border when Yeah, they've just been because they don't have the right paperwork. But I mean, the letter you get in order to get your visa, I think they're doing what are called R1 visas now. So they're calling them religious workers, but they're actually not. They're there studying.
Yep.
They're not supposed to be working because that's the stipulation you go down there with, or those are the conditions you go down to flag with, that you're there to study and train, and that's it.
Mhm.
And the only time you do actually work is when your org isn't giving you money to feed you. So then they make you work for part of the time. That's
Yeah,
what is that?
exactly.
Work study.
It's so
Yeah.
disgusting. And
Yeah.
I just saw something too, like, so all these people who are down there for training, they would have signed a 5-year contract for sure, because you're not going to
Oh,
go
yeah.
into full-time training if it's not a 5-year contract.
Right. Which doesn't go into effect until they get back.
Exactly. They've been down there for at least 3 years
You think
training.
so?
Maybe not all of them, but that's when the training evolution, I
That's when
think,
it started.
began.
Yeah.
And so can you imagine you signed a 5-year contract and all of a sudden it's like stretched to like 10 years?
Right.
Because by the time they get up here, it's probably going to be that.
Yeah.
Right. It's just
And
crazy.
somebody's asking there about, no, you don't get a student visa because you're going down there as a representative of the Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
You
It's
can't.
much easier to get a religious visa than it is
Yeah.
for any other kind. I
Yeah,
remember
it's a
getting one when
religious
I was
worker
sent down
visa.
there, and it's super easy.
Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah.
you see, they're lying. They're lying to the
No.
border security. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, religious visa.
Gabe, shut your mouth.
I just remember looking at these letters going, wow, that's just such bullshit. And then before you go down there, you're drilled or briefed by the DSA on what to say, to basically how to lie to border officials. Like I don't know, man.
You drill it.
That's not cool.
Yeah, you drill it over
Yeah.
and over again. What you're going to say to these
Yeah.
guys? It's a verbatim. It's a patter drill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my pearls. Oops, not that one.
I know. That was funny.
Oh, my pearls.
They lied.
Okay.
Okay.
We're getting
come
off on so many tangents.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
goodness. And now I've
Come
lost
on, Jeff.
what's next here. We've talked about Nicole.
You didn't show
Oh.
her. Are you showing her? You can't.
Well, I did. She walked by.
No, I didn't see her.
Well, you
Honestly,
should have opened your eyes, Gabe.
I
She
didn't.
was there.
Jeff, I didn't see her. Honestly,
What?
we didn't see. So ask the
No.
chat. Did you guys see Nicole? We didn't see
Of
the
course
picture of
they
Nicole.
did. Of course they did. I'll
Jeff.
do it again.
Okay, come on.
Now they have to watch 18 seconds of this shaky ass camera because this silly.
See? You didn't show us. There you go. Look at Matt Elliott wouldn't lie.
What?
We didn't see it.
Oh
we
my
didn't see
God!
any
What is
of it.
wrong with me? Here it is.
There
Sorry,
it
guys.
is.
This is my first time, guys.
Okay, we'll cut you some slack,
It's not.
honey.
It's not. It's a lie. Okay.
It is too.
Nicole,
There.
how are you? Good. Are you on staff now? What's your post?
Well, what are you doing?
I'm not on staff, that's for sure.
You're definitely filming something.
Oh yeah, I'm videoing. It's pretty obvious. Enjoy. Have a good day.
Have a good
Okay.
one.
Here's
Wow.
okay. Patricia and
Bruce Lewis and Patricia Lewis. Hello. Nice to see you again.
She said
Well,
hello.
basically, I see-
She said hello, and I didn't actually realize that until now because I have the volume turned up in my earbuds so much that I actually heard it.
I heard it too. Oh, Bruce.
He's looking rough.
Bruce
He
is
is
such
looking
a
rough.
cool guy. I love Bruce, honestly. And Patricia and I went through hell together. We were always in lower conditions together, but she was also my senior, so I didn't get along with her so well at times too. But yeah, that's amazing. They're saying hello to you, Jeff.
I know. Okay, so now I'm gonna share because we're gonna go into Scott Ackerman next.
Ooh.
I want to remind everyone of who Scott Ackerman is. So I'm going to. I hope this works. I am just.
Can't be not friendly. Oh, that's funny. Yes.
All right, guys. So if you guys haven't seen this short, this is on my channel. You guys can watch it. It's under a minute because it's a short. But let me know if you can't hear this. Let me know, okay?
Why don't you guys go out the front door?
That's hard to see.
You mad, bro? You said you're mad. That's very mean. Are you offering? Is that it? Do you like that from guys? Ass stays on. You need to get your dick sucked. And what? Do what? Suck your dick? Yeah. Why would I want to suck your dick? Come on, let's go. I have no interest in sucking. I have no interest in sucking.
Ooh,
threatening
that's
him?
very threatening.
So that was in
Amazing.
2008 during the anonymous protest. And Scott Ackerman didn't enjoy them being there. So
No, Scott is not a small boy. He's not super tall, but he's pretty stocky, I
he's
guess.
a hockey player. So
Yes.
he knows what's up.
Yeah.
So I didn't make that video, by the way, at least the footage. I clipped it together and put the subtitles in. That's from another anonymous protester who posted on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let me find.
No, it wasn't very friendly, was it, SP Squirrel?
No, very much not friendly. But
that was very not Canadian.
No, it's true. Anyway, okay, so I can't get to the exact. You're gonna have to watch about 15 seconds of not Scott, and I will
Not
pop
Scott.
that
That's
on.
okay.
Oh,
You'll see the age difference here. This is perfect. You
Yeah.
can see, like, fast forward age, how people age in Scientology. Although Scott's always been a very nice looking guy, so there he is. Can't hear it. You can't hear it.
Hmm?
You can't hear it.
Yeah, they can.
No, they can't. Trust me. Ask the chat. Can you guys hear that? No.
No? Oh,
No.
so annoying.
I know.
Give me 1 sec. Sorry, guys.
It's worth it. Like, these guys really engage. It's so different from what you see when these guys are confronted in LA.
There's the problem. Sorry about that. I clicked
That's
I
okay.
didn't click the share system audio button.
Damn.
Let me go back. God,
Okay.
it's
It's worth it.
it. It's my first day. Man, oh man.
Yeah. You really suck, Jess.
Watch the chat. I know.
Okay.
I know.
I'm watching. I'm watching for you.
No, I'm being told to watch the chat.
It's okay. I'm watching for you.
It just means you get to spend more time with me. How about that?
There you go. Aw.
I have not been drinking.
Oh, how's it going, Scott?
It's my first one.
Good.
There he is.
You know, you're famous. Yeah. Remember in the anonymous protests when you asked the guy to suck your dick and you're threatened to kick his ass? Lots of people have seen that video. Yeah. What post are you on now? Oh, you're on public? What course are you on now? Nice. How's that going? Good, good. How come you're not on staff anymore? I thought you were the supervisor or something. No? Well, you were at some point.
He was
You
a
were
good
at some
sick.
point. Nice. Cool. You still married to Marta?
Sorry?
Still married to Marta?
I am. I have
Nice.
2 kids too.
Really? How old?
9 and 5.
Oh my
9
goodness.
and 4.
Wow. Yeah. No, I'm just making a video, so that's all I'm doing. Yeah. Do you teach your kids homophobia like you seem to have done in people? No. Oh, in the video. In the video that's posted
I don't
online.
understand what you're trying to do right now, though.
Oh, I'm just trying to have a conversation. I'm just curious whether you teach your kids that or not.
Stuff that really, someone can actually harass you to get you upset. I
Oh, yeah.
probably said stuff I shouldn't have.
Probably.
But you know what? I'm not like that.
You don't.
like that guy. If I harassed you right now, wherever you were, probably there's a good chance that you probably would get upset.
No, you can say whatever you want to me. Yeah.
Anyway, then he walks in.
He didn't make any sense.
Well, so interesting though. So he's on ProTRs. He's been in Scientology for how long?
Long time.
Long time. Like
30,
from
30.
80s for sure, right? So he's definitely done this course already before. He's a supervisor, right? He's a very valuable person in the field. And you can just see kind of how nervous he is, right? Like he's crinkling his paper, he's moving his bag, and he's not keeping his TRs in very well. But he doesn't like he admits that he did something wrong, but now you can see it like, I'm not that person. There's this dissonance there. It's interesting to watch this video over and over again. Because you don't really pick up on it when I'm first there, and I'm kind of nervous, and it's just, I find it very interesting to watch it again. And, yeah, it's pretty cool.
But he seemed very awkward.
Yeah.
Like he's to me, he's always seemed a bit awkward. He's never been like a comfortable communicator, right?
Yeah.
And he has some really strange ideas too, because he's been a Scientologist for so long.
Yeah, exactly. All right, there's a couple more, and then we will do some questions and stuff. Directly after Scott Iverson, I'm going back. This is my favorite one, guys. This is my favorite one. I'm gonna take this audio clip, and it's gonna go into my intro.
Can't wait.
All right. So
yeah.
Fuck, I can't get close there. Anyway, sorry, SP Squirrel probably caught him off guard because he recognized you. Yes. Scott and I were very, very close in the past. We were very good friends. Yeah.
Well, you're good friends with practically everybody. You know them. These are people you work with 7 days a week.
Here's
360.
Well, they're like, Scott's older than I am. Scott Iverson's older than I am.
Oh, yeah.
They saw me grow up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, these people are my people.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that camera out and I just stood and just said hello to people, they wouldn't know. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be wearing a sign that says suppressive person. Andy clearly didn't tell anybody in the org about me and what I'm doing. Right? Like, these guys don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. That Andy thing, that is such a bizarre situation.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So Nola, is it Nola Wilson now?
Wilson. I don't know. She married what's his pickle? Oh my God, Steve Elash. So it would be Nola Elash. I guess we shouldn't probably say last names. It's probably not too cool, but okay.
Who cares?
Well, we're supposed to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. Okay, there's Scotty.
Okay. There's a swear word coming up, guys.
Oh,
so
Scott audited a lot of people. Anyway, sorry.
He did, yeah. So Nola shows up, and you got to listen. I don't know who that is.
Nola, how's it going? For fuck's sake, she says.
Did he hear that?
Yeah. Okay, and you know what? Nola's actually was a very quiet, very reserved lady. She sec checked me too, by the way. She interrogated me. So did he. All the auditors did there.
Let's I want to hear that again because I just love it.
Good morning. Nola, how's it going? For fuck's sake, she says.
Let's do it one more time.
Nola, how's it going? For fuck's sake, she says.
And that's the thing. She's not a potty mouth girl.
Oh my God, it's so funny when she said that. You can see you can hear my reaction. Like, it just cracked me up.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love it.
That's very out of character. Very out of character. Priceless.
Yeah.
But
So
Jeff,
listen for
every
my
single
next
person.
intro though.
Oh, okay,
For
sorry.
It's gonna be
Okay.
for Jeff Beaumont. For fuck's sakes, achoo!
I love
Oh
it.
man.
I love it. But honestly, like the fact that everybody has engaged, they've said something to you. Nobody has. Was there anybody that just didn't? Bruce didn't say
Oh yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Did he?
Oh, a bunch of people didn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but
But for the
it's
most
very
part,
un-Canadian to not say something, right?
that's right. We
And
can't
it's
help but
funny
be nice.
though, actually, because when I was in the UK too, I mean, there's like 40 of us protesting, and they still talk to us, the Scientologists, right?
Mhm.
We're out there with signs,
Yeah.
and there's media, you know, like it's just a British and Canadian thing. They just have a hard time not saying something. It's just
Yeah.
natural. It's natural societal reactions
Yeah.
to respond.
But I honestly think that, and plus, you're also in BC. I wonder if you'd get the same reaction if you stood out front of Toronto.
I think I'll find out.
Really?
All
You're
right.
gonna come up here?
I got to do a whole full Canadian tour for fuck's sakes.
Really?
Why
Awesome.
not? I might need to do some fundraising for it, but
Yeah.
why not?
I'll meet you out in BC.
Yeah, come on out. You can stay with me.
Nola had heard about what was, yeah, maybe. I don't know if Nola actually heard about what was going on.
Oh no, sorry. My wife is saying, I wonder if Nola had heard about what I was doing. Probably not. She's not. She's an auditor, and I've confirmed that she is. So Scott's an auditor, and Nola is right now. Apparently, there's two more. I don't know which people they were, but anyway. All right. Let's see. Let's go. I did notice. Yeah, there's two more. There's two more. One is very quick, and I think they called the police on me. Now this is downtown, so it could be that they didn't, because there's just police everywhere. I'm just scrubbing this to the right spot here.
Let me interject while you're
Yeah.
getting set here. So somebody's asking, did you see them reg anyone? So what Jeff is doing is he's videoing the staff as they're coming in the morning to their posts. This is Sunday morning. And if there was like an event the night before, which there usually is on Saturdays, then they were up till like 1 or 2 in the morning, because they have to take everything down after an event and clean up, yada, yada, yada. So they're probably kind of tired.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why that lady must have been out of PT and passed the door. All right, so this is just very quick. Sorry if it's shaky. I don't need a gimbal for this. This is a stationary camera on a tripod that I'm moving, which is why it's shaky.
Okay, excuses.
But I looked over and I realized this cop had been sitting there for a while.
Yeah, they don't do anything.
So this is an undercover police officer, and I kind of like saw him out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, I wonder if he's keeping an eye on me. And I think that they called him, because there's no reason for him to be stopped there. There's nothing going on. There's no one else around. And as soon as I pointed my camera at him, I turn it away. He pulls a Yui and gets out of there. So I think that they did that. Whoops. Oh, sorry. I didn't show the video. Yeah, there it is. There's the cop car. Maybe 30 feet away from me. Yep.
Yeah. So it's undercover.
I wasn't worried about it. I just noticed these things.
Usually when they call the cops, like when I would call the cops on protesters, it would be somebody in uniform, and it was pretty obvious. They usually park, they come out, they look around, check everything to make sure nobody's, breaking the law, and then they leave. They say, okay, see ya.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. They won't do anything. So long as you're not on the property, they won't do anything. And even if you are on the property, they hardly do anything because it's a protest. These guys don't like getting involved.
Yeah, exactly. And they're just sick and tired of the Scientology by now, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, it's
like-
nothing to them. Scientology is nothing. Just like 2 blocks down the road, they have a major opioid crisis, major homeless people, major crime going on. They don't give a crap about Scientology and one person out there, protesting. And these are city cops. It's not the RCMP, right? It's the VPD.
And I wasn't even protesting.
Right.
My only purpose, and I didn't mention this, my only purpose to go down there was not to harass people or protest or anything.
Right.
I wanted to confirm how many staff they had.
Yeah.
And I did that,
Yeah.
and I talked to some people and did whatever. So, all right. This is the last clip I'm going to show tonight, although there is more, but we're already past an hour at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm going to post up this entire video, I think raw. I don't think I'm going to edit it all, although there is some dead space I might cut out. But this is me calling out James.
Oh, there he is.
Talk to me for some reason.
Oh.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Do you know when the trainees are firing back?
No idea.
It's supposed to be soon, right?
Hi,
Greg.
Honestly. Yeah, we don't know from the trainings.
Sorry. Okay. Just for some context, that guy Greg there, that was bringing up the sign. He was also a friend of mine. We were counterparts at the Golden Age of Knowledge launch. Is when in 2007 ish, 2008, when we were both on staff as the bookstore officers. So yeah, him and I very close. He was day shift, I was night shift. Lots of coordination, hung out, went down to LA together for training, all kinds of stuff. So you can just see the look of just absolute disgust on his face when he sees me. But anyway, let's continue this conversation with James because I think it's important.
Yeah.
Sharon Werner's down there.
Yeah.
And what's her post going to be?
I don't know.
That's what I was kind of curious about because I know everyone's retraining and there's supposed to be a huge launch. Are they replacing like all the executives? Like, is Marta down there?
No, Mark's here. No.
Because she's the ED, isn't she?
No.
No, she was.
No,
Though.
she was. No, she's got some medical stuff going on, so she's fixing that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Who's the ED now?
Come on, dude.
It's not like it's super secret.
I know.
Nicole is the ED.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No, she's doing great.
That's awesome. Yeah. The ED?
Doing great.
We don't have
Oh
one.
my God.
What post are you guys hiring for right now?
Hey, Serena. Whatever. We need auditors.
Serena?
Scott still?
What's that?
Scott and Nola are the auditors only?
Yeah. Oh, no, there's still a couple more.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You got like 4 auditors now?
Yeah. Anyway, I gotta go because I'm gonna get in shit if I keep talking to you.
Oh.
Doesn't that kind of bother you a little bit that you get in shit for communicating with somebody who I'm literally just standing here? You don't know anything. Like, there's video cameras everywhere. And you're going to get in trouble for talking to a person.
There's 3 video cameras.
No, like, here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And you
know.
got 2.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying, though. No, I'm just saying, like, who cares if I'm sitting here videoing? Like, there's nothing to hide. And I don't understand why you guys get in trouble for speaking to somebody. It just doesn't, does that not make a little bit, like, the sense isn't quite there? Like,
It does make sense to me.
why?
And
But why?
if you turn that shit off, you and I can talk.
Wow.
If I can turn it off. Stop recording.
And there you go. After that, him and I had about another 10, 15-minute conversation all about shit that's going on and shit that doesn't make sense. So it's funny,
Love
though,
to
because
get him out, though, Jeff. I'd love to get him out.
you know what? He is not very deep in. Based on our conversations, he is not very deep in. He's only been back on staff for a year. He was off for 15 years.
Yep.
So, not a difficult target for sure. Yeah. I just got some emotions happening through my body. This is crazy. I really like seeing James.
too.
I like talking to him.
I know.
And Um,
And I
yeah,
saw my brother-in-law. Like, that's messed up.
yeah, yeah.
Did you show that? I can't remember.
I didn't
yeah,
show it
you
in
did.
this one.
Oh,
No, I released it as a video
right.
with the sound effects.
Yeah.
Oh, so I mean, I threw the sound effects just in for fun, but that one lady with the creepy music as she goes in, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not.
I haven't seen that one.
You didn't watch it? Oh.
No.
Well,
When did you
kill
put it
some
out?
time. Kill some time for a sec here, and I'll throw it up on
Yeah,
screen for people
okay.
to watch.
Why did
Tell
he
us the
go?
story.
Don't know. Don't know why James went back, but he was offline. He was always in shit when he was when I was on staff with him. Well, he was on day staff. And yeah, he was just he's somebody that I totally see getting out, in all honesty, because he has a hard time conforming. And yeah, that's all I can say. Sounds like the police in Canada haven't been. No, now don't forget, like the church has actually tried to get tax exemption twice, from my understanding, and they've been rejected by our revenue agency, Canada, whatever they're called now. They've changed their name, CRA, Canada Revenue Agency. And they do have a charitable status. It's not, is it nonprofit or charitable? I can't remember. I want to do a video about that and get all my facts right.
So yeah, they have it. So they can do like weddings and so forth, but nothing's tax exempt for services. I think they have some sort of exemption for like some property
Yeah, I
taxes or
know.
something like that. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
All right, here's the video. This, you guys may have already seen this, but I think it's funny, and we're gonna show it again.
Ugh. This is my brother-in-law,
Are you still on staff? Are you the defense
Larry.
officer? No, I'm the bookstore officer. What? Well, you can have it back. What are you doing these days? Not too long. Yeah. You do a lot of help. I really do. Right? So as soon as I woke up, boom. It's okay. I'm glad to do that. It'd be nice if you sorted whatever it is you have to sort. Oh no, I don't have anything. Yeah. Great play by the way. Yeah. Yeah. Have a good day.
Oh man.
I know her.
Okay. I
I
need to
know
know who
her.
she is. Give
I,
one
I
more
can't.
clip and then we'll go.
I can't think of her name. Oh Lord. Yes, this is too much fun. Oh.
Morning. How are you? What's this for yours?
Let's see.
Slow motion.
Oh.
What's this for yours?
Oh man. That was too funny.
Oh
Oh,
God.
I'm so warm.
Thank you
So-
for doing that. That eased a lot. Oh God.
Okay. Yeah,
I said it eased a lot. It sort of broke the ice for me.
exactly. Yeah, so I mean Larry is your brother-in-law. So that guy
Yeah.
who was the bookstore officer, the old guy there, he was my old boss. He was the dissemination secretary. And so he was in charge of Division 2, which is in charge of dissemination, so books, regging. So they're the ones that bring in the money for the church. And yeah, he was terrible at it. because he is the most wishy-washy, soft sell person you'd ever meet. And I remember Wendy Smith, who was the basically in charge of ensuring that money was made for the organization. He was above Larry, would just rip into him about being so reasonable and not getting money for the organization. Like, it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
poor
pounded
guy.
on so bad. And it wasn't just from Wendy. It was also from Peter Byrne, the asshole. And it was also from his wife at home, because she was a really, really nasty person to him. Yeah. I mean, I can attest to that. It's like,
Yeah.
this man is so beaten down. It's so sad. He's fallen off of roofs twice, actually fractured his head the last time. And he's in his 70s.
Yeah.
Crazy. But
Anyway.
he has a YouTube page, though. He has a YouTube channel
Oh yeah.
of music.
We should all subscribe. No, don't.
Please don't.
Do not subscribe to any YouTube channel that supports Scientology.
He is a very good musician, though, I have to tell
He
you.
is. Yeah.
And he does
is.
a very good Elvis.
Yes.
And
Well, that's the thing.
yeah.
Like, you, Anita, your sister, and him used to do, was it Eddie and Cookie? So
Yeah.
there was like a 50s kind of rock
Duo band.
cover band. Yeah. Amazing. And I remember them as a kid, like playing at the org and doing events and stuff like that.
They were actually very popular back in the day, and they had like a little fan following. And when she left, when she got off staff for a while, that's what they were doing, and they did really well at it. And yeah, he loved it, because he's just been a musician since he could, walk. He's played the guitar, and he is quite talented. But yeah,
Amazing.
anyways.
Amazing at the guitar.
Yeah.
100%. Cannot deny him of that.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
my dear, we have a
Questions?
ton of questions.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay.
Super speed.
The first one's gonna be tough because I don't know what they're referring to, but Fluffy Wickets, what does the symbol in the title mean? And I don't know what they're
I wonder
referring
if
to.
that's the symbol in the title, like your title. I don't know, Fluffy Wickets. Maybe you can clarify that for us.
If you're still here, yeah, chuck it in the chat. Let us know what you're talking about. Do they have a sign with a QR code saying curious like yes, they do.
They
In
do?
fact,
Where?
they do.
Yeah.
I don't have the video queued up. I'd have to find it, but I did a full video of the whole front area, and they have these signs in the window that you can scan, like anybody's going to do that. But yeah. Oh, the sign on the front of the building.
Oh, it's probably is it the triangle or the double triangle, the S double triangle? That's the symbol for Scientology, if that's what they wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sign on the front of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be a money symbol, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what they should change it to. Dollar sign.
Yeah, the only symbol that's on there is the S and double triangle. So S for Scientology, and then the two triangles. One's the ARC triangle, Affinity Reality Communication, and the second one is Knowledge, Responsibility, and Control, which is a triangle that isn't talked about very much.
No.
But you could do multiple lives just on it. And yes, I guess it does have a special meaning. It's the symbol that represents Scientology as a thing. So it's a corporate symbol.
More or less, I guess. Hi from Edmonton. Hello.
Ooh, hello to Edmonton.
Brr, must be cold there too.
I'll be there not too long, actually. I will be doing an audit of the Edmonton org at some point, but I'll be going to visit my family out there. So thank you, Marty. Yes, so I think my wife linked your channel. If you would like to do anything as far as collaborating, do a live or anything like that, tell your story, whatever, reach out to me. IamPTSforlife@gmail.com.
And I'm escaping the cultiverse, eh?
Yeah, maybe you guys could you have so many people there in Toronto, that kind of area, that you could definitely create a pretty big hassle for the local org for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not super close to Toronto.
Yeah, be a road trip.
Definitely be a road trip.
Yeah. This one actually is probably more applicable to you. Jeff, have you ever reached out to Jerry Armstrong? Now, I will say that for guys who don't know my story, my dad was the ED of CCHR, which means he was in DSA, or the local OSA office. And I used to go on missions with him to spy on Jerry Armstrong in Chilliwack. And when I remember one time when there was a psychiatry exhibit outside, I think it was the public library, my dad told me to get a gun and shoot Jerry. Jokingly, sort of, not really. If there was a gun nearby, he was serious, but there was no gun nearby. And so it's possible that Jerry doesn't like me very much for me being an asshole in that regard to him. But I would love to talk to Jerry at some point if he was ever willing. Because
As a matter of fact,
if only to
speaking-
apologize.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have his number, and I just spoke to him last night, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So
I know that.
I've spoke to Jerry quite a bit. And yeah, he's older now and stuff. So you know, I've wanted to tell his story. I'm trying to get him to talk. Anyways, it's a work in progress, but he has quite a story. He has a YouTube channel. It's you can watch it if you want. Yeah.
He has an amazing story, and he was such a big part of the start of the downfall of Scientology that I don't think people really realize.
No, his story needs to be told. He was actually L. Ron Hubbard's archivist, and he was the one that found all the information about Hubbard's life. And he's the one that actually started to expose it. He actually first brought it to the executives in the church. And he was saying, look at this stuff. It's not true. And he wanted stuff retracted. He wanted them to tell the truth. And then the story just gets really awful after that. And he leaves, and he's been sued so many times. And he was, anyways, it's a very sad story. He was spied on. It would be I'll have to do something about it and sort of, it's a very long story. He was fair gamed like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know.
It's really bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I was privy to some of it. So
yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
Yes.
So there.
I have not, but I would. That's the answer. Short answer. I have not, but I would. Matt Elliott, what's up in Hockley Valley? What's the advanced organization that will never ever open?
Nothing's going on there.
Man. So what, I mean, just a quick story. When I was back in the Sea Org in 2012 on the EPF, or the boot camp for the Sea Org, I went to Toronto for it. And they took me to the AO before, obviously, well, it's still not renovated, but like right after they had purchased it. And I got a full tour of the place. And like they were telling me, you know, this is going to be this, and this is going to be this, and it's going to be amazing. Nothing. And it never will be, because there's not enough Scientology in Canada. It's just a way to squirrel away some money in another corner of the world to save. Just save money for David Miscavige. That's it.
Yeah, they could never man it. There's no way.
No.
They're like, let alone like maintain it. Like, I have no idea how they're maintaining Vancouver. You know, like I remember running just that org, and how much money it took on a monthly basis, and it was it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So and there's nobody that wants to do Scientology anymore.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful property, but it's in the middle of nowhere. Like there's not a lot around there. There's a small town, and I think it's got a Walmart, because I think when we were going to on Sunday libs, we would go there and like get our deodorants and soap and whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, there's a hiking trail that goes through the property. So when I do make it out east to see you and see the other orgs, I will 100% bring a drone out there and get some shots.
That would
For
be
sure.
fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt, for the question. Andrea, pause for Andrea. Hello. Hope you're still here. This is a while ago, an hour ago almost, actually.
Oh,
Why
dear.
do Scientologists have godparents? That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know.
And even if they wanted something equivalent, why would they use that term? Yeah, so I think the reason for it is, well, I mean, the purpose of a godparent is to take care of your kid in case you pass away or something happens, right? That's the purpose of it. And in Scientology, I think that would be a reasonable thing to have as well.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think it's a religious thing. Is it? I don't know. Is it like a Christian or
think-
Catholic thing? I don't know.
Well, there's a service, and so there's a religious
Oh, that's
service.
right.
Yeah, I remember doing it when I was younger, and I wasn't even that young when this happened. It was weird, and I don't know why it even happened. To be perfectly
For the
honest,
stats, probably, Jeff. For the stats, they needed
potentially,
some stats.
or because I think it was like early '90s. I'm kind of
Uh-huh.
wondering if it was like a make us look like a religion thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that was shortly after. Yeah, it was shortly after religious recognition, the IRS win. So I'm going to guess that's what it was. I bet you they were working on trying to make it seem legit in Canada as well, and kind of like carry on that that wave of energy that was was happening. That's my guess.
Yeah.
But,
That there's probably somebody pushing it. It's some, it was some stupid gimmick.
yeah, because it was dumb. Because I wasn't a little kid, like a tiny little kid. I was probably, I think it was after my parents divorced. I might have been like 11 or 12, which is pretty
Really?
late.
You were after they divorced, they did it? That's weird.
I think so.
Oh, well.
I can't ask either of my parents, unfortunately, at this point. But
Well,
anyway, Matt Elliott's. How close was the Vancouver org to the Nexium offices? I do not know. I don't know where the Nexium offices are. However, downtown Vancouver is not that big, so it can't be that far away.
no, that's Sarah Edmondson. She, I think they were around the Kitsilano area.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they had an office downtown, though.
I don't.
No.
Well, it's closed now.
That's not the cult that I was from. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer.
Yeah, but apparently according to my SP declare, I joined a sex cult. So maybe it was Nexium that I supposedly joined. I don't know.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow. Yep. Exactly. All right, Donna, from your channel, what is happening in Edmonton now?
Don't know.
They have a new building. Well, not a new building, but a new space, I should say, in a newer building. I'm gonna go find out. How about that? Nothing is happening in Edmonton. It's Edmonton.
Thanks, Matt.
Edmonton is so much smaller than Vancouver. We used to make fun of them in the birthday game. Like, they're in affluence, but now they have 5 people instead of 4. It's like,
oh yeah, we ragged on them all the time. Basically, the competition was between Toronto and Vancouver for the most part,
and Quebec or Montreal.
Yeah, I don't know. Nah,
Montreal for sure. Yeah, there's a huge contingent of Scientology in Montreal. They love the cults over there.
Yeah. Oh yes, it's a very, very popular area for cults. It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just I see this comment. I will go, but not alone. If you're
don't go alone.
Don't go alone. There's no point. It's more fun.
It's no fun.
But if you're gonna go when people are there, and that's gonna be just before muster. All the staff are going to show up. If you're able to get to that front door, like in Vancouver, some can't. Like Cambridge, there's no way. They'll just
Oh, Cambridge is useless.
but go at between like 8:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. for actually I guess day or foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
weekends in the morning or weekdays in the morning, or at shift change, you'll probably see
5:30.
you won't see everybody, but you'll see a lot of them as the shift change. So the day people will be leaving at 6 p.m. and the foundation people will be showing up at about 5:30. So
Yeah.
if you hang out in that window of time, you'll have a ton of
Yeah.
interesting conversations with them.
Yeah.
If you go any other time, you will not see anybody because
Yeah.
there's nothing happening. Period. So I don't know why
Yeah.
people waste their time. I mean, I guess some people don't know, but it's a waste of time to go at like 11 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. No one's going to be there. That's just how Scientology works. It's on a schedule, and that's when you got to go. You could also
Yeah.
go at lunchtime in Vancouver specifically,
Mhm.
because a lot of times they go out for lunch. And so you'll see a lot of students, not a lot, but
Yeah.
you'll see some students,
Yeah.
and most of the staff will go in and out between 12 and 1.
Yeah.
So that's why I showed up so early on Sunday, because I know how
That's right.
things work. Okay. Stop getting distracted.
Okay, come on, stay on.
SP Squirrel, do you guys ever
Here.
catch yourself reverting to a Scientology programming from the past, and how does that affect when you do? Yes, all the time. All the time. I mean, I grew up in it, so it's like in there. But I can recognize it now. And especially since doing this channel and like really focusing on recovery, I have been able to notice when it's affecting me and kind of like step back and like be like, okay, stop that. How are you really thinking? How are you really feeling? And then go from there. So yeah. What about you, Gabe?
Well, I don't know about reverting. If it happens, it's not done consciously.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just happen. And it's at this point, because I've been out for 10 years now, it's sometimes hard to tell. It's like I try and make a point of not thinking. I don't think I think anymore like a Scientologist. But there might be things that trigger me, and then I sort of revert back to a behavior. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not like a conscious thing. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
It's like automatic pilot. It's just you sort of default back to your Scientology.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, you do anything for, I mean, there's a question here from Lori about how long were you in? I don't know if she's referring to me or you, but you were 27 years. Is that right? And I was essentially, I was born into it, and I left when I was like really left in 2012, which would be 30 years. So I basically spent 30 years
Yeah, you grew up in
or
it.
around the cult, right?
Yeah.
I was raised with Scientology. Both my parents were Scientologists. So it's, I think the important thing that I've had to deal with was recognizing when my reactions, my
Mhm.
decisions, and my actions in general were actually a result of my Scientology training. So I didn't know whether it was me deciding to do something or reacting a certain way, or if it was the Scientology part of me, right?
Mhm.
And then if it ended up being the Scientology part of me, then I would step back and try to figure out whether that's actually what I want or that's actually how I need to respond, etc. So it's like it's a thought process that would have to happen. And sometimes it would be quick, sometimes it would be slow, and sometimes it wouldn't happen at all. But the first thing I had to do was recognize that it was happening, and then I can just go from there.
Yeah.
And it still happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
And I grow every day. So
Well, I mean, honestly, it's when you've grown up or spent a good portion of your life in something, um, you it shapes you into who you are now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's the good and the bad. Like if I didn't have the experience that I had in Scientology, I wouldn't be the person who I am now. And that's kind of good and kind of bad. And so, I mean, somebody said, yeah, it stole much of your life. And it did. I mean, you know, struggle now. It affects your life like all the time, every day. And I still have dreams sometimes that I'm in the org on staff. It's really bizarre.
It's the
So,
worst.
yeah, it's really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. I
So,
had a dream not long ago that I was back in the Sea Org. I re-signed my contract. And when I woke up, I was like, holy shit, no.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man, it's the worst
I
feeling.
had a dream that I was in the org. I was rejoining staff, and they knew everything about me. Like, you know what I mean? They knew that I was an SP, but they were still accepting me back. And I'm like, you guys are really strange. Why are you taking me back? I'm an SP. It was just like,
Yeah.
dreams don't make sense to me anyways. But anyways, it was very, very bizarre.
They are desperate. So,
Yeah. Oh,
cool. Thank
yeah.
you very much
Okay.
for the question.
Yeah.
All right. Do every person constantly get SEC checks? Yes and no. If you are
On staff, yes.
going out ethics on staff, yes, because you're expected to quote unquote hold a higher standard, and you're
Mhm.
much more like involved in you're more involved in Scientology itself. If you're a
Yeah.
public, especially in Vancouver, you go to course, you leave. You can hide a lot. But
Right,
when
exactly.
you can do things and not have to like confess them necessarily, but when you go in to staff, a lot of times you get a meter check, especially after a weekend or something, a Monday morning or afternoon. When you show up to course, you literally go in the door, and then you're on the meter, and you hold the
Mhm.
cans, and the person doing the meter check doesn't say anything. She just looks at you.
Yeah.
And if your needle's dirty, which means it's like kind of jaggy, back and forth, you have to go write your overts and withholds
Yeah.
up.
I
So while not
never
exactly a spec check, but
right.
go
I
ahead.
never once flunked a meter check.
Oh, I did all the time.
Never once. Huh?
I did
Oh,
all
I
the
know you
time
did. I know.
because I was always doing bad things. I was always drinking or staying up too late or whatever.
Oh, it was horrible. Yeah, like the meter checks would happen randomly, right? By Shelley Hockett.
Yeah.
And then like it was like as soon as I knew there was meter checks being done, because I would have to grab the people and take them down and basically put them in front of her. I was like the escort. And well, I was security, right? That was part of my job.
Yeah.
So it was like a nightmare. I knew that that the next probably 2 weeks were going to be horrible because most of the staff were going to be in HCO writing up their OWs. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
Well, you know what's funny? I'm just thinking about it now. Like, so when James is talking to me, he's like, I'm going to get in shit for even talking to you, right? Like he said that to me multiple times. And
Aw.
I could see that he wanted to say more, and that's why I turned the camera off so he could say more. But Scientology staff members are the least trusted of all Scientologists because they're just like, you're dedicating 40 hours a week for this organization, and yet they still need to interrogate you and check to see if you're doing anything wrong in the weekend or whatever. It's like, it's
Mhm.
disgusting, you know?
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Can you imagine going to a workplace and you
Oh,
show up after a weekend on Monday morning and they put you on a meter and be like,
yeah.
what'd you
Or
do?
like drug tested.
Yeah.
Drug tested.
Like, yeah, but that's a little bit different. I mean, if you've agreed to your job
Right.
Maybe you can do drugs. Anyway, regardless, it's wrong.
So hopefully we answered that question. I think we
Probably
did.
5 other
And
questions.
then some. All right.
Gabe and I can talk. All right.
Yeah.
Nancy, if you're still here, thank you very much for the question. Is there an organization or testing center in every province? No.
No,
Most, yes.
we don't
So I
have
think
testing
there's
centers.
well, no, but there's an
No.
organization or a mission. There's at least a Scientology presence in, I'd say, at least 8 provinces.
Yeah.
So
So BC, Edmonton, Winnipeg. Where do we go? Jump to Toronto, Quebec, Montreal.
yeah.
What
There's
am I
something in
missing?
like Nova Scotia or PEI,
No.
just a mission though. I think there is. There's a group of some
Oh,
sort.
is
It's
there?
nothing
Well,
major. Yeah,
right.
as far as I know, but it's nothing like of note.
Yeah. So that's about it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so there you go. Yes, but or no, but in most. Quick little comment here. Canadian Sea works 40 hours. No.
More.
We're talking about class 5 org staff, not Sea Org. Sea Org still works the usual 12
Same as
hours a day,
yeah.
at least 6 days a week. On the 7th day, they rested. No, they probably rest a few hours while they do their laundry and do their shopping for the week. It's called
Yes.
libs or
But
liberties.
yeah, it just to inform people, the staff members that are at the class 5 orgs, they are there 7 days a week, Monday
For
to
foundation.
Friday for foundation. It's over 40 hours that you're usually there after. And then on top of that, you have your, you do usually your day job. Oh, okay, good. There is
There's a mission in Nova
Okay.
Scotia. Thank you very much, Laura.
Laura.
Yeah, so I mean, realistically though, you do your 40 hours or whatever it is of post time, but you're also supposed to do 12 and a half hours of enhancement time on your own time as well. And so that's a lot of hours. Most of the staff don't do that though, because they have to have a second job.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many things that I want to answer here.
I know. I'm trying not to get distracted too much. We're already at an hour and 47, but
Oh,
you know,
dear.
people are still
That's
here.
okay.
So
If you guys are hanging in there, we will too.
I got nothing else to do tonight other than talk about Scientology.
Yay.
All right. Here we
Okay,
go.
next.
SB
Okay.
Squirrel. If Canadian members donate money, does that money stay in Canada orgs or do the USA war chest? Now, that's tricky question though. So for services locally, it stays in the organization. There's always a certain amount that goes up to flag or whatever to pay for the use of Scientology's name and all that stuff. But if it's for the IAS or the Ideal Org, it all goes into a international account that has nothing to do with the local org.
Okay. I'm can I cut you off a little bit or cut in? I mean, very, very small amounts stay locally, and that would be for the purpose of paying bills, paying staff, and things like that. The majority of the money, it goes, there's percentages, and that goes to the middle management in Canada, and then the rest goes to various places, various higher level churches in the US, and they're more like management. So like we pay for the films. What else do we pay for? I mean, Vancouver org isn't owned by the Sea Org anymore, is my understanding. I don't think they have like a mortgage. I'm not
who
sure.
owns it? The local org?
No, it's still owned by no, not by the local org. It's still owned by the church, but I don't think there's money being given to them for like a mortgage. So there's probably a lease payment or something, some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
But very little money stayed within the organization. And it's not like they built up like a reserve or anything like that, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
So,
I was never in treasury, so I don't. And you were the
right.
ED, and you were much more privy to this information. I
Yeah.
guess the point being, though, like, I guess let's say someone spends $30,000 for a clear package or whatever it is, and not all of that money will go up lines.
Right.
Some of it will stay locally. It's the local org's money, but the way the finance system works, very little of it actually stays, regardless of what the money's for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they can pay their bills and stuff. Whereas if it's IES or Ideal Org, that's like gone, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can put money into reserves like we would like you can set aside money, like we would set aside money for to pay for the food and birthing for the trainees. But you have to make like a lot of money in order to do that. So like a good portion of it does not stay in the local org. So like for instance, when Lorna sued the Church of Scientology in Canada, they didn't have the money to pay her back. They had to pay her money. They were basically having to go to the public people and probably the staff, and they were getting donations from them. So it's like they were having to pay her back out of like the public's money. They didn't go into like a bank account and get the money out because they don't have it. They had to raise the money, which is so insane because Lorna gave the money, most of her money, to that org. Bizarre.
It's also messed up.
It
I hope
is
that
really.
answers your question.
Yep.
Just a quick thank you to Rachel Martin, new here, subbed. Thank you very much for subscribing.
Sub to
I
me
love
too.
it. Yeah, sub to Gabe's channel, sub to Matt's channel, all of the channels that are doing something to fight Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
Amy Lumsden.
Lumsden.
Sorry if I didn't say your name correctly.
I know her.
Yeah, so she was a Vancouver public.
Yeah.
I remember her, but I don't remember much about her. So, Amy, if you're still in here, shoot me an email if you would like to. I am ptsforlife@gmail.com, and I would love to hear from you and hear your story. Of course, anything sent to me is confidential unless you want to make it public. But
She's getting anxiety. Yeah, she reached out to me. I
yeah.
texted with her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I tell you what, if I could bottle up that anxiety and share it with
Send it off.
people, I don't think I would. It was brutal. I don't think I've ever had that much of a visceral reaction to being in a space and about to do something. Yeah, it was undescribable. So many things were going on. It all went away though once I started doing it. So yeah, it was good. I don't know if I acknowledge this yet or not, but Buckled Up
Ooh, there you go.
Buttercup. Thank you very much for the super chat.
Love that name.
Yeah, and if you guys do want to support the channel, myself or Gabe's, we both have Buy Me a Coffee accounts. Like I said, this does take a little bit of time, especially when I'm editing videos, and any support is appreciated. I also have a membership on my channel, which you can find in the descriptions of any of my videos. Yeah, and if you guys just want to reach out, you can always email me too. I love hearing from people.
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
Somebody else.
So
Another person that found us here.
Oh, nice. Did you see them? Oh, love Maddie. Did you see them try to reg anyone while I was there? No. The fact is, the people who are walking by this organization are not the people Scientology wants. Unfortunately, and I was talking with James about this, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, a lot of the good, like higher end businesses moved west, deeper into the downtown core, and a lot of the buildings nearby are empty or under lease or whatever. And the people who are nearby are unfortunately very like they're homeless or addicted to drugs and they're not having a good time in life. And frankly, Scientology doesn't have time for those people because they don't have any technology that can help those people at all, despite what they say they do. And if you can't afford Scientology, they don't want you.
No. And
That's
you know, it's strange because when I came back from Los Angeles and I was in Division 6, so the public division, I used to body route. So I used to get people in front of that org. I could actually fill up the testing area where people did their personality tests. I could fill that up. It wasn't a problem. You cannot do that now. There's no way.
No, I remember when I was on staff, the couple times, like we would put a table out there and we would get people, we would sell books and we would get people in because there
You
was a
do the
lot of
self
film
test.
students.
Yeah.
There's an international school like a few doors down still. But there was like very well off people who Scientology likes because they're
Lots of
able.
victims there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, no one's going in there, believe me.
No, if there's a documentary called what is it called? Vancouver is Dying or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's all about the opioid epidemic that is going on in Vancouver, and that is literally blocks away from that org.
Yeah, it's not blocks away anymore, Gabe. It's literally across the street. The
Holy
people
shit.
who I gave the Timbits to were across the street on the same block.
Wow.
They were currently using at the time.
Wow.
And like the amount of people that are just, I mean, it was Sunday morning. So, you know, Saturday night's probably a bit of a more active night for people as far as using and so forth. But they're literally just laying on the street, like in not sleeping positions because they've had such a rough night and so forth. And this is like around the org.
Yeah.
And guaranteed these people just step over them and that's it. You know, and one of the reasons why they put those gates up in front of the org is because people would use it as a washroom. I mean, you still could, I suppose, because it's just a metal gate, but yeah, really bad.
Yeah. And they also did it because they used to have what's called a night watch. So staff members would have to sit there and hold security overnight. Anyways, that's a whole other
video. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, Jeff, are you actually declared or no? No, I'm not declared. I am dead filed, which means do not speak to, don't answer phone, don't communicate to. But because I'm doing these things online, I'm persona non grata. I'm as good as declared. If you point a camera in any Scientologist's face, they will stop talking to you. They will assume you're an enemy. Even if you're making a friendly documentary, your media, you're attacking them. It's instant. It's phenomenal. You know, and I know no one likes to have a camera point in their face, but they see it as like a full-on attack. So.
Yeah. Well, I told Jeff that his suppressive declare is probably sitting on little Davy's desk waiting for a signature. So
it can't be. I didn't have a ComEv.
Stay tuned. Oh,
it is non-standard. And if I found out that I was declared, I would cause a stink. I want my ComEv. I want my fucking ComEv.
I never got a ComEv. Nobody gets a ComEv anymore, dude.
You have to.
Yeah,
it's off policy.
Period.
It's off policy. I want my ComEv.
Yeah.
Hey guys, do
they
me a favor.
They don't follow their own policy.
Do me a favor, honestly.
What?
Please call my local org during opening hours
and
tell them that Jeff wants his ComEv. Also, say hi to Ann for me.
I was about to say, call Andy. Call Andy and ask
don't
Andy.
Call Andy. Don't call Andy. Call Ann.
Call
Tell him
Ann.
that Jeff
Okay.
wants his
Call Ann.
ComEv.
Ann Byrne.
Ann Byrne, day org. So she's there 9 to 6 every weekday. Tell her I want my ComEv.
Ann has been in Scientology for so long. She's actually part of the furniture now. It's ridiculous.
And you wonder why the org's failing.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Question: do you think that I think he's there? Barb tries is referring to James. Is in it for his in because of his family. Yes
be.
and no. Yes and no. So his son is on staff. His name is Justice, and he's 23. So he's an adult. Not worried about naming him. Cynthia, his ex-wife, they're not together anymore. He's got a different partner now. And yes, they are in Scientology, but James was also out of Scientology for 15 years. So he could leave and just like not do anything. So yes, he is, but no, that wouldn't stop him from like leaving staff or just not being on services, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
but did you say, sorry, I sort of tuned out. Did you say about Cynthia's family, who's also?
Yeah, but Cynthia is not.
But she's
I don't think.
connected.
I know, but I don't think Cynthia is a reason for him to stay in Scientology at this point.
What? Okay, if you don't think so.
And his girlfriend is not a Scientologist.
Mm-hmm. Well, neither is Cynthia's. I mean, Cynthia doesn't have a girlfriend. Cynthia's boyfriend. I never told you, right? Cynthia's husband or boyfriend is a bus driver. He's retired now. When I went to the retirement dinner, I saw Cynthia there, and she wouldn't look at me. It was really bizarre. Anyways, side story.
Anyway, yes and no to that answer.
Okay.
Yes, we have both been. We both chatted with Aaron, or Aaron, and I'm sure we will again at some point. Let's see what's next. Hey, we're getting to the end here. We only got like 7 more. Do they clean up the tiles out front or wash the windows out front? The org looks dirty out in front. Yes, it does.
Disgusting.
I'm gonna make a bet with you here, though, Gabe.
It's gonna get cleaned up.
It's gonna get cleaned up. So I am an exterior home detailing professional.
And I used to be a cleaner.
I did this for 20 some odd years, being a cleaner of exteriors.
Oh, exteriors even.
Exteriors specifically. So all the stuff I videoed, that first of all, it's not hard to clean that up.
No.
And secondly, that takes a long time for that much moss buildup. So it's been, my guess would be 8 to 10 years since that sign was cleaned. Right? But I bet you anything it gets cleaned up pretty soon, because I just posted on the internet. And as soon as OSA or someone upline sees that and sees how disgusting the org is, my guess is someone's going to have a KR. I should write a KR. I'm going to write a KR.
Send it in.
I'm going to send it in to Davey Miscavige himself.
There is a report line. You know that, right?
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use it. All right. Thank you for the question, by the way. Marty, when you were both in Scientology, what was your reaction to protests outside? I will answer mine really quickly. Okay. I will answer mine really quickly. I was off the radar, off the radar?
Under the radar.
Under the radar. I don't know, some sort of preposition.
You were somewhere around the radar.
Yeah, it was something about a radar. No, I was not on lines at the time. I was still around, but I wasn't anti-Scientology at that point. Right. And in fact, Scott Ackerman called me a coward for not coming and defending the church. I wish I had that voicemail. But, yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Tell your story.
Oh, I actually I did a video about it. I was on the other side. My job was security. So I had quite a bit of interaction with it. So if you go to my channel, I think I do about 40-minute hour telling people about my experience behind the enemy lines when Anonymous was there. It went on for a long time.
Yeah, like a year, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let's do it again.
Yep.
Oh, and on that note, if anyone wants to join me outside the Church Scientology of British Columbia, please send me an email and I'll let you
Yeah.
know when I'll be there.
Go.
I
The
am
more the
PTS for
merrier.
life at gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great to have more people there. Lori.
How do I find out if my
How do I
friend was?
find out if my friend was put in the Sea Org and if she was able to escape? You don't, unless you find that friend
Yeah.
outside the Sea Org.
You can also, I think the aftermath said that they were trying to help people find their family members in the Sea Org. So I don't know, you can throw in an email or something like that to them. Or looked for years, she says. Wow. Well, the other thing is you put up her name. You put up the person's name, and at 14 taken from Toronto. Holy shit.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what you could do, Lori, is send an email to one of us and we
Yeah.
can do some inquiries. Send us a name
Yeah.
and like some information about it. Oh, there it is. I don't
Tommy
recognize the name
Warner.
myself, but you know
So
what? We can
I'll ask.
definitely ask around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know some people from Toronto who are in contact with me. So I will try that. I'm gonna write the name down as we speak. Please continue.
Lorna, Jeff, I will join you after I move. Awesome. I would be so honored to stand outside that org with Lorna. That would
Yeah,
be amazing.
I gotta talk to Lorna about her move. Sorry.
That's great. Pat Bird, is it hard to have close friendships in Scientology?
No.
Is it hard to? Well, it is. So there are many camaraderies, and you have a sense of standing shoulder to shoulder with someone in a fight with a singular purpose. So in that regard, no, there's a camaraderie. It's like it's very strong, but a real friend is one that you can talk to about your feelings. You can say what's bothering you. And the problem with that in Scientology is if you say anything that isn't towing the party line or is against beliefs in Scientology, you'll get written up. And so, no, not really. You can have faux friendships for sure, but a real friendship, like a real friend, no, you cannot. Because
No, they
it's
narc
like
on you.
my dad just disconnected from me because I made videos.
Yeah.
That's a familial connection. And as soon as you say one thing, that's it. So there is no real unconditional friendship or love in Scientology, period. End of story. Question: what happens at the mission locations? Nothing. No. Really nothing. So what a mission is they are a very small, like usually a house actually. Sometimes it's a small office where they hold basic courses and they basically sell books, do basic courses to get someone interested in Scientology. I think they can get up to maybe a class 4, so not quite clear, but they can do some auditing.
Mhm.
And then anything above that, though, they get sent to the org. So it's basically just a funnel, one of the many funnels for people to get sucked into Scientology.
Did you know that
Mm,
that the person that is in charge of the mission, called the mission holder, actually has to buy the mission
mm.
before they open? It's called a mission package. They have to, I don't know how much it costs. And then it's not even yours. It's a
Oh,
really messed up
it's a
system.
franchise.
It's a franchise, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to agree
That's
to
how they have it
terms
set
and
up.
yeah, exactly. Craig Barrett is the Craig and Effie Barrett are the mission holders in the Victoria location. I
You
should go
think
say
they're
hi to
still there?
them. It's still on Google. I
Oh,
assume that
really?
they're still there. Yep.
I know I saw somebody in the chat from the island. You can go visit the mission in Victoria and say hi to
Yeah.
Craig and Effie for me.
Just
Tell
Google
them
it.
sending love from Gabe and Jeff.
Exactly. They know who I am, believe me.
Oh, they know who I am.
I know everybody.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Celeste,
Okay.
Commodore, do you think auditing the CLO here in Hamilton would do any good?
Ooh,
I don't know what the building is like. If
I'd
you
have to
I don't
Google
I don't
it.
even know what the address is, to be honest, but if you can make yourself known, then yes. The problem with buildings in Toronto, like the Cambridge org, for example, is you can't, like, people will see you as you drive in, or as they drive in, but you won't really reach them or communicate with them. So it's good to put pressure on Scientology, but it won't be like a super exciting, very effective communication process, I suppose.
Yeah, I
by all
mean,
means, do it.
you can have signs and stuff, maybe. There you go.
Yeah.
Mission package is $25,000.
Wow. I mean, the problem with also, and I'm not saying don't do it, but the problem with protesting Sea Org bases the Sea Org are regimented and they are dedicated. And I'm not saying that they can't leave, but there's less of a chance of them looking at your signs. Because they're drilled, whereas the average Scientologist isn't.
Oh.
And that's why I like the idea of going to local orgs that you can actually like speak to people directly. And it doesn't have to be like rude conversation. It can just be, showing that you are not an evil person.
So it looks like the one in Hamilton is like a church. It's in like a church.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I probably
And
want to
it
do
didn't
like a
catch fire.
Google Earth on it. That's weird. Like it looks like
I'll take a look at it.
It has a huge cross on it. That doesn't make sense.
Well, so the CLO in Canada basically just rents buildings randomly because I don't think they can keep a lease very long. I don't know. They've moved like 4 times.
The poverty in the CLO is
Oh,
it's unimaginable. It's like
yeah.
they get so little money because the Canadian orgs make so little money, and that's what they survive on. They survive on what the Canadian orgs pay the Continental Liaison Office, so middle management. And it's like I honestly feel very bad for these guys. They probably don't even get staff pay. I mean, I don't know how they would get staff pay, Jeff.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I don't know.
Especially
but, yeah,
now.
It's not the same as like being in Flag or anything like that. Yeah, not
Oh
saying
no.
that they
Oh no.
not saying that they
No.
would be like better necessarily, but they are better to a certain degree.
Just as far as their living conditions are way better in the US than it is in Canada. It's a very sad state of affairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I know some people who are in the CLO. So anyways,
Yep, so do I.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, do it. I mean, all the stuff that we can do to annoy the shit out of these people, so to make their life a little bit more difficult to recruit people. Like that's the name of the game. In my opinion, I'm not there to get people out. I'm there to stop people from going in. And that's enough.
Yeah.
I would love to help people get out, but it's much easier to get people to stay away than it is to get them out at this point, only because of the incessant messaging of how good Scientology is, right? They're brainwashed. So
yeah, well, you saw my brother-in-law. I mean, he's lost his entire family. Like he's so brainwashed. He told his son that it would be better if because his son at one point was having thoughts of unaliving himself, and he basically told him, you're probably better off, catch you next lifetime, kid.
Yeah, well, that's what was told to me as a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
So
but not by your father. This is his frickin' father telling him this. I mean, that
no, I know.
what you were told was bad enough, but
Yeah.
you know, that's the mentality, you know, see you next lifetime. Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Oh, Gabe.
I know.
Hey,
It's so sad.
Jeff Beaumont, for fuck's sakes.
Oh,
All right, guys. I think we're
is
gonna
that
wrap
it?
up pretty quick here. That's it.
Okay.
That's all. I'm
You've
done.
been
I'm
going.
done.
It's past my bedtime. I'm
Everybody,
old.
I know it's like 11:15 for you.
I
Everybody,
know.
if you're watching on my channel, please go over to Gabe's channel and subscribe.
Yeah.
We are going to have a lot more chats in the coming future. If you would like to join me for a Vancouver Scientology protest or audit or whatever word you want to use, just go say hi to some Scientologists. Let me know. Email me, iamptsforlife@gmail.com.
And I'm
Y'all can
Gabrielle,
and you're
escaping the
Gabrielle.
controversy.
Yeah, and you and I will definitely do stuff in person too when I come visit once it warms up over there. You know, I am a BC
You
boy
big
after all.
chicken. Hey, I'm still
If
a
you
BC girl.
I know, well you should come back.
No, no,
We won't go there.
no.
If
Yeah.
you guys
So
would like
everyone,
to support our channels, please do. We are small time Canadian YouTubers just trying to make a living here. Yeah, no, you guys can buy us a coffee if you would like, but definitely please do like and subscribe, and get the word out so we can get more messaging to all these Scientologists out there that it's time to just wake up and get out.
yeah.
Anything
And
else you would like to say?
yeah, I'm trying to get monetized. I'm like halfway there. So yeah, watch some of
Well,
my videos.
yeah, I mean, the great way you can do it is just maybe turn a video on before you go to bed and just let it play for
Is
an
that what
hour.
you
Like
do?
if you've, well, it's not what I do, but what you
Oh,
could do, like if you just went over to Gabe's channel after this and just let it play, this same video, you know, that'd
yeah.
be a couple hours right there.
You
But
know, you could. It's okay if you did.
you're good if you wanted to. Anyway,
Okay.
Gabe, as always, I love you.
I love you
Um,
too, Jeff.
and we will talk again soon. Thanks
And
everybody for joining us. We'll see you next
thank
time.
you.